Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, what the fuck is Magic the Gathering? Wendy, my co-host, my spear, my shield.
That's me.
Other things that you are. What is Magic the Gathering?
Magic the Gathering is a trading card game that was
the first trading card
game ever. That's right. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
That shit.
Maybe Digimon was Digimon a trading card game?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was just a video game.
There's a trading card game for a lot of different IPs, including Vampire the Masquerade. But the very first
Dragon Ball.
The very first one was Magic the Gathering, and it was released in 1993 by a man named Richard Garfield. Gerald Garfield?
I think it was Richard Garfield.
It is Richard Garfield.
So one thing I'd like to say is that Wendy and I are not Magic the Gathering experts. I've only been playing for about 6 years.
The real Magic the Gathering experts are the judges who know all the rules and will tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. Spencer is probably a better Magic player than me by some margin that I cannot define.
I can jump around any format.
That's true.
There's a lot to unpack here. So let's start with
our favorite. Let's start with our favorite. I guess we should start with standard.
We're just going to explain what Magic is. So, Magic the Gathering is a trading card game, and it's centered around 5 colors. What are those 5 colors, Wendy?
Red, black, blue, white, green.
And each of those colors is based around an archetype. Now, I could pull up the website and see what the website says, but we're not going to do that.
No, we know enough about Magic to tell you what the archetypes are.
Okay, so red is... The idea behind red is that it's fast, it's aggressive, it's got heart, it's cards that are like...
It's got moxie.
It's spastic. It's electric, like Lightning Bolt. One of the best cards ever printed is a red card. And then you've got black, which is death and dismay and
sacrifice. And lots of
sacrifice and decline.
When you play black, you deal a lot of damage to yourself. It's like
it's not always just a lot of damage to yourself. You gain a lot of life too.
It's very Faustian. You sacrifice something of your own to gain a great benefit.
Do you want me to do blue? You don't really know blue.
I really don't. Yeah, you do. Blue.
Okay, so blue is arguably the best color in Magic.
It's the smartest color.
It's high IQ shit. And blue is about like cunningness and intelligence, and we're not going to get into like what you're playing. We'll get into that soon. But it's like thought. It's brilliance. It's knowledge. It's mindfulness.
On that knowledge thing, one of the functions of blue is scrying, where you figure out what your next card is and decide whether you want to use that or not. It's all about knowing what you have and how to best use it and how best to disenfranchise your opponents.
Not only that, there's card draw and drawing more cards, which puts you at an advantage all the time. Having more cards is you always want to have more cards than your opponent because you have more options. I'll let you do green. You can do green.
Magic is, first of all, drawing more cards is essential because Magic is what game experts call an imperfect game. Now, the difference between a perfect and imperfect game is, I'm going to use an example here.
The perfect game is Tetris.
Chess, no, shut up.
Yes, it is.
Chess, that's not what I'm talking about. Chess is a perfect game because both players know exactly what the other player can do. Magic is an imperfect game because your opponent does not know what you're going to do next. And it's very heavily based in RNG. Now I'm going to get to the color green because Spencer is starting to get agitated with me.
I'm not Can I add to that? A big thing in Magic that a lot of people forget is that it's still a random game, and you don't know what you're drawing next most of the time. So when it's a lot of guesswork, and a lot of games can just go to just getting shitty draws and not drawing what you need.
This is why strategy in Magic is very difficult, because you don't know what your next card is going to be. You might have an idea of what you're going to do with your current hand, but then you draw a card that you can use, and everything goes out the window. And you also don't know what your opponents are going to do.
Yeah, so you could draw, in Magic there are creatures, which are monsters that you get to cast, but your opponent might have a spell that kills that immediately, and you have no idea unless there's some other card you've used that shows what they have, or you know what they have. So a big factor in Magic, kind of like poker, is just pretending like you have an answer.
That's exactly right.
I've done this to Wendy tons of times, and she falls for it every single time because she's gullible. Explain green. Okay. Explain green.
Now, green is a small brain color, like red.
Yeah, it's for idiots. But it
green
might
is
be the
focused-
best color.
Green is focused on summoning creatures. In fact, it's so focused on summoning creatures that when I organized my card collection,
My card collection.
partly his, but it's mine now. Unless I find something really valuable that he wants. I had to separate my creatures into two categories because green is so creature heavy. Green is about having lots of creatures on the board and growing your creatures.
Well, not only that, green does pretty much everything. In green, you have cards that can destroy other creatures. You have cards that gain you life. You have giant creatures. You have great enchantments, Growing Rites of Itlimoc, which we'll get into shortly.
In fact, green is such a creature-heavy color that green has great synergy. Explain what synergy is.
Synergy is... Well, what do you mean? Like, do you mean synergy like deck synergy or color synergy?
How cards interact with one another.
So when I first started playing Magic, my first deck was a green-black deck. And that worked really well because not only was I playing giant creatures, at the same time I was playing great removal spells. And I don't even know if you know about this card. There's a card called Murder. It's a bad card, but it's a classic.
That's
and
right.
It's been around for a long time, and it just kills a creature.
The first set in 1993, there was a card called Murder.
So, let's talk about white.
Let's talk about white.
Wendy loves white.
I love white.
I like white a lot too.
See, I like white. I'm going to get into another thing about Magic that I really like. Magic has a lot of appeal for two different camps. Those who are really heavy into lore and very much enjoy the lore and enjoy the world that the game is made.
Well,
and
let me explain
Magic
something real quick.
Okay.
There are... This is going to sound so confusing for somebody who doesn't know Magic. And for somebody who does know Magic, they're going to think we're idiots. So there are three types of players in Magic the Gathering. We're both Timmies. Timmies like to play big spells, big weird spells, big creatures, big enchantments, and we're going to get into what the fuck that means. Mm-hmm. And just big, stupid, goofy shit. And then there are spikes. Spikes are assholes. My brother is a spike, and he plays the best cards that do the strongest shit that always win. So if you, let's say Timmy's would play I saw in your hand earlier, there was a card called Sandworm Convergence.
Oh, God, yeah.
Spike would never play Sandworm Convergence, but Timmy loves Sandworm Convergence because Sandworm Convergence is how much mana is it? 6 mana? 8 mana. It's an 8 mana, and we're going to explain what that means very shortly.
God.
8 mana, which is a lot. It's an enchantment that makes you big monsters at the end of your turn. A Spike would never play that. A Spike would play something like... In Commander, a Spike would play something... What's just a bullshit card in Commander that you see a lot that's really that you don't have that's worth a lot of money? Just spikes have a lot of money and have a lot
Anointed Procession is kind of a...
Anointed Procession is kind of a spike card.
Yeah.
Anointed Procession combos with Sandworm Convergence, and we'll explain that later. But Anointed Procession is like a $60 card. How much did you get it for? $30?
Yeah.
We got it when he got it for $30. I got it for free because my brother didn't want it and he gave it to me. But it's an expensive card. Very lucky.
And one thing to know is that the expensive cards are always the good cards, pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll get into the cost of Magic.
Yeah.
We have a lot.
That's a big factor.
We have a lot to talk about.
And in fact, it's one of the things that people don't like about Magic, and one of the things that it's kind of a gatekeeping factor for Magic.
That's an unfortunate truth because Magic it sets up this thing where it seems so accessible, where you can just go to your local game store.
And that's how Wizards of the Coast, the company who owns Magic, give that idea, is that it's very accessible.
Yeah.
Just go to your local game store and join a game.
And it's really not that easy. See, I play we're Commander players. We're casuals. Oh, I didn't finish explaining the 3 players. So there are Timmies who like big stupid cards, and Timmy, we know about Timmy. We know about Billy, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, Billy. Billy, what do you play?
What do you play, Billy?
He's asleep.
I didn't want to hear what you had to say
Billy
anyway.
plays like what's his commander? Fuck, Niv Mizzet. He plays Niv Mizzet. He's a big Niv Mizzet guy. Google that.
No. What's the goblin one that like
Krenko?
He's Krenko.
Billy totally plays Krenko. Yeah. Okay. So Krenko, like, it's just stupid cards for stupid people. Timmy is easy. It's simple. It's all about winning the game by playing big creatures. Spikes are into like crazy combos. And what kind of combos have we seen?
One of the most important combos is the infinite combo.
The infinite combo. So, even in Krenko, which we just made fun of, there are tons of ways to go infinite and make a shit ton of goblins. This nobody knows what we're talking about.
I know. We should, at some point, we're going to make like a little time skip for people who already are acquainted with Magic.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of explaining it. At the
but there's Timmies, which your 12-year-old cousin is a Timmy when he plays Magic. He wants to play fucking what is that Ixalan card? It's an Ixalan card, Sweetfoot Swallower, and it's like a shitty card. It's not good, but it does big shit. And it's a big goofy creature, and Timmy wants to play the big goofy creature. But Spike wants to play something like Laboratory Maniac. And,
oh, God.
Yeah,
no.
Have you been Laboratory Maniac?
Yes.
So Laboratory Maniac is just a creature that says when you run out of cards... So in Magic, if you can't draw, you lose the game. If you like get all the way down to your deck and you're at your last card and then you go to your next draw phase, you lose the fucking game.
Which is... not. It doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't happen very often. But Laboratory Maniac... I'm having a soda. Laboratory Maniac says the otherwise. It says you win the game. So that's a combo. And you'll see decks that do huge discard. Discard. The last time we played, back in November, I got Laboratory Maniac as fuck. We all got Laboratory Maniac. And it was because the player played a spell that let him draw out his entire fucking deck, and he won.
And the important thing here is that you can also do an infinite combo with card draw, and that will instantly win you the game because of Laboratory Maniac. Normally, that infinite combo would not win you the game. It would just be stupid.
Yeah. So that's what Spike does. And then there's the one that isn't discussed very much. That's the Merlin. Merlin likes to do what's lore appropriate. So let me give you an example.
I'm going to give I have a better example.
We're doing the same. I know we're doing the same
Soren?
example. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So in the Magic the Gathering lore, there's this creature named Avacyn. She's an angel. We're not going to explain that.
Probably one of my favorites.
Wendy loves the angels for good reason.
And I love Avacyn.
There are a lot of really good angel cards.
Angels are the best thing about white, and we're going to get to white at some point.
No, it's not.
Well, one of the
angels
are
not
one of the
best.
One of the best things.
Okay, so
get on with it.
So Merlins like to do like lore shit, and Merlins are mostly seen in Commander because Commander.
Are you going to explain the Avacyn and Soren thing?
So Soren made Avacyn, and on this card, is it Anguished Unmaking? Anguished Unmaking, which I run in my Commander deck. Very good card, good removal. It depicts Soren killing Avacyn, and Soren made Avacyn. So a Merlin would cream their fucking pants if Avacyn's on the battlefield and they have an Anguished Unmaking in hand to kill Avacyn.
I certainly would.
Wendy certainly would. Wendy's a Merlin. I'm 50-50 Timmy and Spike. I'm right in the middle.
Yeah, you are.
So,
I don't know. Can Edgar Markov really be considered Spike? It's kind of a Timmy deck.
Are you serious? Look at it. Do you... Okay.
Okay, well, stealing people's cards is a pretty Spike thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about white. I'll let you start.
Yeah, let's talk about white. So white is... What do you think about when you think of white? You think of...
Do not say anything racist.
Don't go racist. Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to mention that. Because, let's be honest, there have been a few racist Magic cards in the past.
There's been one that I can think of.
There have been a few.
Can you think of what's another one besides...
the Klansman one?
That's so fucking funny. Do you know who owns a copy of that card?
Who?
Connor.
Perfect. Okay, so white.
And that's a blue card.
White is a very control-heavy color. Control is about making sure your opponents don't do things that
Not really, jackass. Wrong again.
White.
No. White is about making tokens, gaining life, and playing like...
And white is heavy on a mechanic called exile, which is essentially destroying a creature but putting it in a different pile to where it can't. So you can play with your graveyard. You can bring creatures out of your graveyard.
So is black.
And regenerate them.
So is black.
But
in white and no other.
But white is more exile.
Most of the exile spells
exile.
are white,
Yeah.
or white adjacent.
And another thing about white is that it's associated with order. And what I mean by order is like law and empires. That's why it's heavy on tokens. Any card that is called a soldier is usually white.
What's that card I play? That 2-mana enchantment.
Oh god.
Do you know what it is? It stops.
Your
I know what
deck.
it does. It's my deck. There. Let's Google it real quick.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, while he's googling it, I'm going to talk a little bit more about white.
I'm gonna.
You know what? I'm going to go into the kinds of creatures that are in each color. So, blue has a lot of fairies and a lot of merfolk. Obviously, they're underwater. Red has a lot of devils, and it's has a lot of goblins.
Blind obedience.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I play blind obedience, which says, and it's a fucking great card. It's a really good card,
and it's the epitome of white card.
It shuts down everything. Blind obedience not only has an extort cost, we'll explain that later. Mm-hmm. It says artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, which means oh my god, Magic is so fucking complicated. We're going to need to do 3 videos about Magic.
Notice these names here. Blind obedience, think of land tax. It's all about law and order.
Explain what land tax does.
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay,
sorry.
So another thing about white that I wanted to get across was taxes. Taxes are like making your spells cost more, which is my favorite thing about
it's
white.
It's great. It's so good.
You don't even know that. You don't run any taxes.
I do. I know it. I don't run any taxes, but I know about.
You should
taxes.
run some taxes.
I know.
We'll get you some taxes.
If I had an all white deck, I would.
So like land tax is a classic card. It's like 20 years old.
It's where the term tax comes from. And a lot of Magic terms actually come from cards. Like, for example, if you have a card that you can tap for a mana, that's called a Birds of Paradise. And a lot of names for Magic cards are based on much older Magic cards that have become
They're not
staples.
called a Bolt of Paradise. They're called a Mana Dork.
Yeah, I know, but some people call them birds. Like think of bolting the bird. If you bolt the bird, you're killing something that generates mana. A small mana dork that kills. Yeah.
Let's explain what mana does.
Yeah, I'm getting to you.
Okay.
Specific.
In Magic the Gathering, we're gonna make it. Okay, Xander. We're talking to Xander.
Hi, Xander.
Hi, Xander. You don't play Magic the Gathering. I've shown you my cards, but you have no idea what that means. So, Google Magic the Gathering and look up a picture of a card.
I'm not gonna ask our audience to Google shit. That's the worst thing in the world. Are you crazy?
Okay, I'll put an image up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that.
So if you look at the top right, we're gonna do fucking what? I don't know. We'll pick some card. You'll see that there are some symbols, and those symbols are paid for by lands. And you can pay for one land. You can place one land a turn,
unless you have a card that says otherwise.
And it's like money. It's like the money you spend to cast spells.
That's right. It's currency.
So you use these lands and you tap them accordingly to fucking Grey Merchant of Asphodel. My favorite Magic the Gathering card. Let's pull up how much he costs real quick.
I think he's like $3.
No, how much he costs in mana.
Oh.
He's not $3. He's like 25 cents. So Grey Merchant of Asphodel costs 3 generic. Your land, unless says otherwise, can always pay for 1 generic. So let's say you have Magic is fucking complicated. So let's say you have
and it's not just lands that pay mana.
It's not just lands. You have a swamp.
Enchantments, instants, sorceries,
other creatures. Yeah, you have a fucking swamp on the battlefield, a basic land swamp, and it can either pay for 1 black or one generic.
That's right. So if you have, let's say you have 2 forests, and you have 3 forests and 2 swamps. Even though this card costs 2 black specific mana, you can still pay just the 2 blacks with your 2 swamps, which generate black mana, and you can generate the generic mana with forests, as you can with islands, mountains, or plains.
Yeah. And of course, in Magic, there's a million billion fucking cards, and they all say weird shit.
And there are some lands that only generate generic mana.
And there are some lands that only generate their colored mana.
And there are some cards that only cost generic mana, and there are some cards that only cost colored mana, like that, oh shit, the green giant creature, the
Tarmogoyf? Magic's complicated.
Magic is complicated because it's been around since 1993, and new rules are added all the fucking time. I swear, like every 2 sets, a new rule is added.
Can I?
And we're not. Wait, what?
Take over. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about some different formats. Actually, I'm not gonna talk about different formats. I'm gonna talk about.
Wait for me about formats.
Oh, fine.
I know more about formats than you.
That's fine. So Spencer and I, also the great thing about Magic is it's great at bringing people together. Spencer and I have made many friends by playing Magic at our local game store, also known as an LGS, called Through the Decades. If you live in Louisville, go to Through the Decades to play Magic, or get collectibles, or play Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever you're into. They have a lot of collectibles there if you're into sports, like baseball cards or whatever, or football or whatever. That's great. It's got all you need. They've got like collectible footballs and stuff, and they've got action figures and Funko Pops if you're into Funko Pops for some reason. But TTD is mainly for Magic players. And if you ask TTD, like any employees there, they'll deny that, but it's true. And we've made lots of friends there, and they organize events like drafts and commander pods. When Spencer and I go, we get into a commander pod, and the staff is really nice there. In fact, one day we got them a box of donuts because we like them a lot. Most people you meet in Magic are really, really nice because most of them are nerds, and nerds know how it feels to be.
You're talking about my favorite subject. One of the best things about Magic the Gathering is that with the invention of Magic Online, it's kind of going away. But one of the best things is going to your local card shop or game shop and just sitting down with a complete stranger and making a friend.
We've done this countless times.
We have, there's Zach, there's Carson, there's Alex.
Think of Alex and his mom.
They're
like our favorite people there.
Yeah, and it's like
there's Nate.
Nate is the best.
I met Nate actually at a coffee shop called Sister Beans. He was working there, and we recognized each other. Magic is just really good at bringing a community together. In fact, I went on a date with someone who went to TTD.
Yeah, Through the Decades. If Through the Decades is our game store, we rep Through the Decades. We love Through the Decades.
I said that. If you live in Louisville, go to Through the Decades.
It is the best Magic shop. You'll see
and
us
it's not
there.
just Magic. It's lots of other things, like I mentioned earlier.
But it's just like it's such a nice informal way to meet people because you get put into a group to play, and very rarely do we encounter groups where we think, oh, those people sucked.
Honestly.
And we make friends.
Honestly, sometimes the way they play Magic sucks, but they're really nice. Like Alex has played some really annoying functions, like annoying combos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
Love him. He's great.
Yeah, Alex is great. He's a good friend of ours, and we meet these people and we make these friends, and it's like, if you just want to fucking meet some cool people, get a Commander pre-con and just learn the game.
And by the way, a lot of people will tell you that pre-cons aren't good. They're good.
Both of us play pre-con. Both of us play pre-con. I mean, how much money do you think you've put into Geared by now? $200?
Oh no, probably about $120 maybe.
I've put a lot more money.
Well, including Geared. Geared was $60, so about $180.
I am going to admit something.
Uh-oh.
I'm an Edgar Markov player.
Boo!
I was in London, England, and my dad...
We'd say boo because Edgar Markov is banned in 1v1. He kicks my ass with Edgar.
Yeah, Edgar's fucked up. My dad and I went to London.
Oh, wait, we didn't explain. Commander's a multiplayer format.
We're gonna get to... We'll get to that. Okay. So...
This shit's complicated.
We do not have the authority to talk about Magic the Gathering.
No, I don't think so. I think so.
We have the authority to talk about Commander, I guess.
I really wish we'd actually written out a list of things we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but that would spoil the fun.
That's true.
I have the authority to talk about Pauper. We'll get into that. So, Commander is kind of like the D&D version of... Would you say it's kind of like D&D?
A little bit, yeah. It's very homebrew. It's really homebrew.
In Commander, you pick a legendary creature. Now, let me explain something real fast.
Commander is the Gary's mod of Magic.
Pretty much. In Magic the Gathering,
it's a sandbox game.
There are rarities of cards. There's common, uncommon, rare, and super rare.
Mythic.
I never remember that. Thank you. So, you would designate a legendary creature. I have chosen Edgar Markov. Wendy has chosen Garrett the Conclave Exile, and you build your deck around this card. So, and in Commander,
he's just jizzing his pants to talk about Edgar.
I love Edgar Markov so fucking much, and he's
great in lore too.
He's so good, and you know who I'm gonna love even more? Momir Vig.
You know who I'm gonna love even more than Garrett?
Yeah, Kalia. Kalia's gonna kick my ass.
Kalia rules.
I'm not gonna want to play with you. I'll be like, you have to play it.
Hey, you're the one who's playing a commander who's banned in 1v1. You're not allowed to say that.
Yeah, that's
You don't
fair.
get to opt out.
Okay.
You're part of the problem.
I'm part of the I'm part of the problem. That's good. So, Commander is like you find a legendary creature you really like, and you pick that... Me too. You pick that commander, you pick that legendary creature to be your commander, and then you build a deck around it. So, in Commander, what we do is we go to our local game store and we sign up, we get all that shit, and then we get in a game with 4 players. Now, recently, our local game store has been allowing us to play, usually Wendy and I would be separated from each other, but now we're allowed to play with each other, which is very fun, and I like that a lot.
It's fun to see you get teamed up on.
Yeah, I get teamed up on all the time. I'm usually, if I'm not the first person kicked out, I win, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, so we get paired up in a group of 4, usually 4, sometimes 3. And so
hang on, we haven't explained something crucial of the game.
What?
How do you lose and win Magic?
Oh my god. Okay, there are a lot of ways you can lose and win Magic.
That's the most important part of the game.
So in Magic, in every format besides Commander, you have 20 life. And you lose most of the time by having 0 or less than. But there are some cards that say otherwise, like Platinum Angel, what's that one white card with a really scary face? If you want to have a good time doing some shit tonight, Google scary Magic cards, because there are a lot.
Fuck yeah.
My favorite...
there's a thing... I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the term Satanic Panic. Magic the Gathering was part of the Satanic Panic.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Explain what the Satanic Panic was.
The Satanic Panic was a period in mostly American history.
And it was about D&D.
Yeah, originally it was about D&D because parents would hear that their kids are summoning monsters and are performing spells and stuff like that, and they'd think they were practicing witchcraft. Which is
so fucking funny.
It is funny. But it's cool though, because when you play fantasy games, you are...
Can I do a shout out?
Yeah.
Trevor is one of my closest friends. Trevor is probably my best friend besides you.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Like out of real life interactions, Trevor's parents were raised him completely against anything like that. So
they were fundies.
He watched a lot of VeggieTales and shit like that. And Trevor, when we hang out, when we go on our
why haven't I talked to Trevor yet?
Because he thinks you're hot.
Come on. A lot of people think I'm hot.
Okay. Sorry, Trevor. Sorry I outed you. But Trevor, we're going to learn... I'll try to make a way for us to teach you how to play Magic.
That's right.
But
That's right.
his parents are so ingrained in the idea of that, like, Magic is Satanism. Mm-hmm. It fucking isn't. It's nerd shit.
It is nerd shit.
No, like, you believe in God.
Yeah.
You
There's
have
some demiurge out there.
You've subscribed to some Christian beliefs.
Yes, of course.
So have I. And I still play you play Vampire the Masquerade. I play Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. We do that nerd shit. And a big thing about Magic is, like, it is... When I started playing Magic 6 years ago, when Eldritch Moon came out, it has such a difficulty curve. It started out super simple, super easy. I was playing stupid cards like Soul of the Harvest and Murder, and there's this other card that, like, Brandle thing, or I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And I still have those cards. Hornet Queen.
I remember the cartouches.
Yeah, the cartouches. The cartouches. Google that. And we would play shitty cards like that. And so the learning curve was like, oh, this is easy to understand. And then you go and play with other people. With other people. And you're like, you're like,
the great thing about
you feel
Magic
like a fucking idiot.
So people play Magic so differently, and it's really important that it's a community game, because you'll be playing Magic one way, and then you'll learn that Steve over here plays Magic a totally different way, and you'll pick up some new techniques. I've played with so many people with my tokens deck who have told me, you need to put this card in, you need to put this card in, you need
Definitely.
to put this card in.
I mean, remember Anointed Procession?
Yes.
How long we took to get that fucking card?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
This is going to sound so confusing. Wendy plays Girad Conclave Exile, who, when he enters the battlefield, or when he's summoned, he creates a Rhino token.
And then when he attacks, he does something called populating, which is if you have a token, which is a creature without any, like,
no
identity
mana cost.
like
It doesn't have any identity. It's just a creature. And, like, if you I play a lot of tokens too, but I don't mainly rely on tokens.
Yeah.
I rely on tokens, like, not on tokens.
And when Garrett attacks, there's a mechanic that I use very heavily in my deck called populate. And populating allows you to create a copy of that token.
And it's really good, especially when
with Anointed Procession.
Anointed Procession lets you make 2 of those motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. And so Wendy's got Anointed Procession in her deck.
And the thing is, if you're making 2 tokens, you get to have 4. If you're making 8 tokens, you get to have 16. I've done that several times.
Totally. And it's a game fucking winning card. That's why I run it. That's why Wendy runs it. It's a good fucking card. Right. And I want to go back, like...
And the best thing about Anointed Procession is it's a flexible card. You can use it with any colored, or
any white
color, white.
Because white usually generates tokens.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So,
but green does it a lot too, and Girad is a green heavy.
And you go out of your way. You go to these Magic stores, and you make these friends, and these are guys you'll know. Like, you might forget their name. I didn't remember Carson's name until he told me it again.
That's right.
But Carson is like... Carson is the perfect Magic the Gathering player.
He's so good, yeah.
Because
he's not only good at the game, but he's very helpful.
He will go out of the way to tell you what to do properly to maximize what you need to do. Now, the
most important thing is, even if he's losing the game, even if what he tells you will be at a disadvantage to him, he'll say it. Yeah. Because he values your experience.
And
shout out to fucking Carson.
Yeah,
Carson rocks. We love you.
Carson,
I will suck your dick. I love you, Carson.
I don't know about all that.
Maybe I won't do that. Okay. I don't know.
Let's not creep out Carson.
Yeah,
Carson is a good friend of ours.
Carson, I won't threaten to suck your dick.
But threaten? Do it. Do it now. Pet. I was trying to make some belt noises, but I failed. But it's like, if you really want a sense of community, start playing Magic the Gathering.
That's right.
And you will always find, and Today I played with a guy who was kind of a dick, but at the same time I was still playing with Carson. Mm-hmm. Carson's not a dick to me.
No,
he knows what level I am.
Carson is what you would call a salt of the earth kind of person.
He's a really nice guy, and you will meet these people, and that's why I think more people are, but more people should play Magic the Gathering, because you meet these people and you make new friends. How many times have I come back from college? and it's a fucking Friday night, and you just got off work, and we go through the decades, and we see our friends. We see Alex's mom. We don't know her name. That's kind of shitty of us. That's kind of what. That's what she likes to go by, though.
Yeah, that's true.
We see Alex's mom. We see Alex. We see Carson. We see James. We see
James. James is the first friend we made at TTD.
Oh, we love James.
Yeah,
there's that one girl whose name I can never remember, but she's so nice to me.
Yeah,
she's so fucking nice. And
what about the girl with the shaved head that we played with that one time?
Oh, that I creeped out really bad?
No, not that girl.
Oh,
she had a shaved head. Remember?
Oh, I don't know her, but you're friends with her.
I played with her. Yeah. And like I said, I went on a date with a girl I met at TTD.
Spencer creeped out a girl really bad at Magic once.
Didn't we talk about that on the podcast?
Yeah, we probably did.
Great, yeah.
It was very funny.
That's Spencer lore right there.
That's Spencer lore. Spencer doesn't know how to talk to women. But
Spencer does know how to talk to women. He just makes flukes sometimes.
You make these friends, and... Okay, let's talk about formats. This is where This is where I take over.
Okay.
Magic... Formats are ways of play. You can talk about... I'll let you talk about Commander. I'll talk about everything else. So let me go first.
Okay.
Magic the Gathering is the best trading card game because it has a format called Standard.
Mm-hmm.
No other trading card game has this format.
It's a rotating format.
It's a rotating format.
You sounded like Markiplier when you were doing that.
Oh, that's cool. So it's a rotating format. Okay, so Magic cards are released in sets. Now, this happened kind of recently. It happened like a year and a half ago. Usually, when I started playing, sets would be... You get one new plane, which is like a realm, and then you'd get 2 sets for the plane. And then they changed the rules, and they were like, "Fuck you guys, we'll do as many sets of this plane as we want." Which started with Dominaria United, and I think there were 3 of them. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Dominaria.
There are a lot
United.
of Innistrad sets too.
There are like 6.
What was the monster one?
Knight. Yeah, we just went back to Innistrad.
Yeah.
Innistrad fucking rocks.
Wait, that wasn't the first time we went back to... We actually went back to Innistrad twice in 1 year, because it was that one first, Midnight Hunt, and then it was Crimson Vow.
Yeah, well,
which was very hyped
those
up.
were the sets.
That's right.
We went to Innistrad, and those were the sets for Innistrad. Mm-hmm. But like for Dominaria... Oh, I'll just explain the one I know best. Amonkhet had... Amonkhet is based around like Egyptian... And Hunter fucking loved Amonkhet.
You love Amonkhet.
I love it. It's probably my second favorite set that I've played. Ixalan is my favorite set. But Amonkhet ruled, because Hunter's my older brother.
Can we talk about my favorite set?
Well, when I'm done explaining.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My favorite set is Throne of Eldraine. Now, Throne of Eldraine is a really cool plane set that's based on... Brothers Grimm style fairy tales. There's cards that feature the gingerbread man, a witch's cottage made of
which
candy.
I run.
That's right.
I run Witch's Cottage.
Throne of Eldraine had some incredible cards.
Oh my fucking god! Oh my god!
You forgot it was from Eldraine, didn't you?
I run him in Momir Big. Let's talk about Oko.
Oh, Oko. No, I was actually about to say Questing Beast. Beast is from the...
Questing Beast does not fucking matter compared to Oko.
That's true. But he's still overpowered.
Questing Beast rocks. But Oko is so fucked up. And when I get Momir Big, you're going to see a lot of Oko.
I hate it. No.
Okay, so...
You're going to turn my angels into elks.
Yeah, I will. And I'll turn
fucking dick.
I'll turn your artifacts into elks, too.
Guess I'll get Swift with Boots.
That's not indestructible, baby. I can turn that into an elk. So Amonkhet was the first... So, oh my god, there's so much to talk. This is going to be like a 3-parter episode.
It honestly will. How long have we been going?
40 minutes.
Okay,
so, I drafted...
Why don't we just make it an extra long episode?
Okay. I drafted, and drafting is really complicated, so I won't explain it too much. But it's where... no, I didn't draft. I pre-released. So in pre-releases, you get a big box of cards and 3 booster packs, and you build a deck just out of those cards. And my brother Hunter swears by Limited. He says it's the best way to play Magic, and honestly, it is. And so you get... it's a 40-card minimum, and how many cards you have is very fucking important. So in limited like draft and pre-release, you get 40 cards minimum, and you just build a deck in an hour, and it's really hard. And I've only won 1 game in limited. Mm-hmm. And that was during Hour of Devastation, which was the second set of INCOHERENT. So let's go back to sets. So sets are like as many as they want now of a certain plane. And now I have to explain planeswalkers. Planeswalkers are...
We have to explain planes first.
Planes are like an area. Like
no, not an area. It's like...
It's a place. It's a universe.
It's a universe.
And you get...
Magic is based in... First of all, Magic is very high fantasy. And Magic is based in not exactly a multiverse theory thing, like alternate realities, like Rick and Morty. War. Infinity War. It's not really like that. It's just like, imagine in Norse mythology, the world tree. There's different worlds that are all connected in a strange way. And why don't you talk about planeswalkers?
And what connects those worlds are these cards called planeswalkers, which are fucking stupid, and they're the worst thing to ever happen to Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
and I love them
They are
so much. They're so.
And one of the things about planes is planes are very often themed. Like Spencer said, Amonkhet is themed around Egypt. Throne of Eldraine is themed around fairy tales. Innistrad is themed around
Eldritch Gothic horror, vampires, werewolves, that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. So
my favorite plane, Innistrad.
My favorite, if it matters, my favorite's Kamigawa.
Kamigawa is really fucking cool.
I love Kamigawa.
Yeah. Like I think Kamigawa is one of the most technology heavy Magic.
That's new. That's all new to Magic. That came out with the last Kamigawa.
That's true. But the old Kamigawa. Yeah.
My favorite set is Ixalan, which is fucking vampires. Hell yes.
Dinosaurs.
Hell yes.
Conquistadors.
Hell yes. And pirates, baby. Fuck yeah! It's awesome.
One of the most popular cards from Ixalan is a dinosaur chasing a pirate ship. And it's called Colossal Dreadmaw, baby!
And it's a 6-mana 6/6 with trample! And it's always good! It's such a funny card. Magic has a lot of memes.
It sure does.
If you ever want to take your time to think about, like, just... What's the Reddit? Magic the Circle Jerking?
Magic the Circle Jerking.
If you ever just want
to... great name.
If you don't know anything about Magic, just go check that out. You might think it's funny. I don't know.
It's also one of the most, like, true-to-heart Circle Jerk subreddits. Like, a lot of Circle Jerk subreddits make their own memes, but Magic the Circle Jerk, more than any other Circle Jerk subreddit...
I mean, yeah, like Stormcrow...
Memes off of posts made on the original Magic the Gathering.
My favorite thing is when they, like, take a screenshot from the regular Magic subreddit, and they're like, this guy's a dumbass.
Which is, like, half of the posts on
because Magic players are idiots.
They really are.
I know, one of these days I'm going to be on that subreddit.
Yeah, you will. You will.
So... Ixalan has dinosaurs, vampires, and pirates. We got so off track. Let me explain what formats are.
That was like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that was... So in Magic the Gathering, the main format is... The main format is Standard, which is a rotating format, which has sets. And sets have, like...
This last one?
Yeah, I'll take it. Don't throw it at me. I'm... Right in my face. And so...
I was going to throw a soda at him.
And so you format, like... It's... Standard is so interesting because you'll have new sets come in that have different cards, and then an old set cycles out, so you can't play with those cards anymore. So deck builders will have to go out of their way to make a new deck centered around these new cards, which is really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's Modern... I don't know much about Modern.
Modern is I think it's cards printed after 2003. Any card printed after 2003 is Modern legal, and there are a lot of banned cards in Modern. And Modern is a very expensive format. Probably the most expensive format.
No, Legacy is the most.
Yeah,
don't be... Right. No. Vintage. Yeah. We'll get to Vintage. I used to play Modern on the online Magic the Gathering application, Cockatrice.
Wait, why is Modern and Legacy expensive?
Because you're playing with older cards, and Wizards of the Coast, the creators of Magic the Gathering, made a bunch of really fucked up cards, and they didn't realize how strong they were, and so they were like, we'll just put these over here, so nobody has to deal with them.
And the other factor of it is that each of those formats has a meta. Here's one of the things that is great about... Well, we'll get to that later. But a lot of formats like Modern have metas, and if a card is in that meta, it is bound to be much more expensive.
Definitely.
There are like like a good amount of modern cards are like easily within the $40 to $80 range.
I played
one fucking card.
That's not even that much.
Yeah, honestly,
$40 to $80 is not crazy for Matt. Edgar Markov is a $70 card.
That's true. That's true. How much is Cyclonic Rift?
Oh, can I talk about a win I got? I got Cyclonic Rift for $13 fucking dollars.
How expensive is it usually?
Like 30.
No, more like 60, dude.
Yeah, more like 60. I got it for $13 fucking dollars.
It's true.
And it's gonna go in Momir.
Oh wait, and we got to talk about trading at some point.
Trading, yeah, we'll get to trading.
Yeah, literally one of the aspects of trading card game.
So, in Modern, when I played digitally, I played online. I played a deck that not a lot of people played called Tin Man All Star Band, which was like artifact creatures. Oh my god, nobody's gonna know what we're talking about. Artifact creatures are so hard to explain.
They really are.
It's robots. It's also called robots. But I would play robots, and they would automatons like Arcbound Ravager, Karn, the original Karn, not the new Karn, the original Karn.
Oh, tell them about the plane that's made up of robots.
The plant? Which one?
Phyrexia.
Phyrexia's not made up of robots. It's made up of Phyrexians. Fucker.
Well, they're all artifact creatures.
No, they're
most
not.
of them.
No, they're not.
No?
Nope, they're Phyrexians.
Well,
you can talk about Phyrexia.
I can't talk about Phyrexia. I don't know much about Phyrexia.
Phyrexians are cool. We're not going to talk about them because I don't know a lot about their lore. But, I didn't play a lot of Modern besides that. But then there's Legacy and Vintage. This chair is so creaky. My fat ass cannot handle this chair.
Listen, I got this table and chairs for $0.
It's good. I'm not even bouncing my leg, and it's still creaking.
That's true.
So then there are other formats like Vintage, which is like the original set of cards. You've got like Dual Lands. Dual Lands can cost like thousands of dollars.
That's very true.
I'm not exaggerating. Like a fresh, well-maintained Dual Land can cost you like $2,000.
That's right.
My big brother, the Magic Wizard, he had a Bayou. So fucking cool. Mm-hmm. So fucking cool.
Bayous are green and black, right?
Yes, they are. He played Nick Fit. I'll show you that later. And it did give me a Nick Fit. So you've got that. and you've also got Commander. No, wait, one more.
One more?
Pauper.
Yeah!
I play Pauper. And Pauper, earlier we talked about the rarity of Magic cards. Common, uncommon, rare, mythic rare. Mm-hmm. Pauper is comprised entirely of common cards. Now, you might think, oh, they're bad cards.
No.
Wrong again.
Steve is a common card.
Steve is not even that fucking good. Fuck Steve. I will never run Steve. Not even in Momir Vig. Oh, wait, I do have him in Momir Vig. But he's not I don't think he's a common. Lightning Bolt and Counterspell.
Maybe he's not a common.
Atog. Mirror Enforcer. I just named a shitload of cards. Those are some of the best cards ever printed. Mm-hmm. And they're commons. Especially Lightning Bolt and Counterspell. But I play Pauper because it's not that expensive. Usually a Pauper deck will range you about $50. I play a mono red, which just means just red.
Oh, since we're talking about Pauper, why don't we talk about accessibility as it relates to cost?
Okay. So, Pauper does not get a lot of respect as it should get because Pauper is the fucking best format ever printed. And I play a really bad deck and a really good deck. And I play mono red. Wendy has never beaten mono red. No. Nothing beats mono red.
I have beat mono black devotion though, but that's because it's bad.
Red deck wins is what I call it because red deck fucking wins. It's my own. Now, sure, I took inspiration from other red decks, but it's mostly my personal concoction of cards.
Oh my god, Jonah spilled my sleeves. Oh, it's gonna take forever to get these back in there.
That sucks. Jonah sucks. But then I play mono black devotion. We're not going to get into that. That deck is not very good, but I really like it because it plays my favorite card ever printed in Magic the Gathering, Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
Also known as Gary.
It's my favorite card, and if we ever get big, you'll see me in a couple of months cosplaying him at whatever next big Magic event comes to Louisville. Now, Wendy, what's Commander?
Commander is the only format in Magic the Gathering that is multiplayer. All other formats are...
Wrong again, jackass.
Why?
You can play any format multiplayer.
Not officially, not legally.
Yes, you can.
Whatever. Alright, well, Commander's made to be multiplayer. I can say that? Can I say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, yeah, it's made to be multiplayer. Most formats you play one-on-one. But Commander, you can have as many people as you want, usually 4. Because more than that takes forever. In Commander, you start with double the life total that you normally start with in other formats. Instead of starting with 20, you start with 40. And instead of having 60 cards in your deck, you have 100.
Minimum.
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 Yeah, 100 minimum. And beyond that, it's just like I said earlier, it's a sandbox format. You can do whatever you want in there. You can make it as janky as possible.
Can I
you can
say
exploit
something?
the weirdest mechanics that are conceivable.
Can I say something?
What?
One of my favorite things about Commander is that most of the time you will always see different cards that aren't normally played in any other format. You will see bad cards, you will see good cards, you will see all kinds of cards. That's what appeals me to Commander, is that
There's no meta.
There's no meta. Well,
There isn't. Well,
for CEDH, competitive.
EDH stands for Elder Dragon Highlander.
It's also called Commander.
The reason why they're called Elder Dragon Highlander is because when Commander first
do you
came
really
out...
want to explain this?
Dragons.
Old dragons.
Some of them are still played.
Some of them came out when they were old.
Some of them are still played when they came out when they were old.
Yeah.
I played against one last time we hung out.
Oh, shit.
I kicked his ass, remember?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he could not stand up to the vampires. Sorry, continue about Commander.
Okay, so Commander is a sandbox format, and you can do whatever you want. You can play... And with Commander, you can make bad cards good.
Yeah,
and
fucking Anointed Procession would never be played in Standard,
That's exactly
and
right.
it's one of the best cards for token decks in Commander.
That's right.
Sandworm Convergence would never see any fucking play in Standard.
And the reason...
But where do we see it? Commander, motherfucker!
The reason that you can do so much is because you have 100 cards. Imagine what you can do with 100 cards!
Let me express something. You cannot have duplicates of the same card. They all have to be unique.
That's true.
Unless it says otherwise.
Unless they're basic lands. You can have more
basic
more
lands
land.
and cards out unless they say otherwise.
Yeah, normally you can't have more than 4 copies of one card, but in Commander you can only have 1.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And like some of my... Like I said, I play Edgar Markov. Some of my favorite cards are just fucking bad cards. Bloodghast. Nobody plays Bloodghast. Vona. Nobody plays Vona. Vampire Nighthawk. Nobody plays Vampire Nighthawk. But what does it do in Commander? It kicks ass.
Yes.
You talk about that. I'll be right back.
Talk about Vampire Nighthawk?
No, talk about your Commander deck.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
And talk
so
about Kalia.
So my Commander deck, right now, that I've been working on for the past, year and a half or so, is Geared. And he... Not Gearhead, it's Ghired. Geared is a commander focused around tokens. And most... If you're playing Standard or Modern or whatever, you're not going to use tokens. Tokens aren't really big in them. But the reason tokens are so big in Commander is that these games are huge. One of the things about Commander is that you have 3 targets to focus on, or more than that if you want, or 2 if you're playing with 3 players. You have multiple targets to focus on, so you can spend more time developing your board state by casting more creatures, casting more enchantments, and the best way to build up your board state, is to use tokens, because they're so cheap. They don't cost any mana. They're just created by other cards, and that's how Geared works. He populates. There are a lot of cards in my deck that populate. And if I were playing any other format, I wouldn't be able to exploit that as well as I do here. One of the things that I do very well is I have a couple of cards that give you a certain amount of life based on creatures entering the battlefield. If they have it's either power or toughness. One card focuses on power, the other card focuses on toughness. If they have, you gain life according to the power or toughness that they have when they enter the battlefield. That gains me crazy life. I started out with 40 life. I went all the way down to 3 life, and then I got all the way up to 78 life using one card and a bunch of fucking tokens.
And so a couple years ago, there was Wizards of the Coast made one of their worst decisions in printing a card ever. It's something called Eminence. I play Edgar Markov, who is the best Eminence commander, and he says...
There's only 5 Eminence commanders,
4.
right? 4, yeah.
And whenever he says... He affects... So, Wendy's commander is all about playing him. I don't ever need to play my commander. Ever. And when I do shit, it's serious. That's like
Explain
Wendy...
what Eminence is.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
When I play Edgar Markov, that's like a last-ditch effort or I'm about to win the game. So Edgar Markov's Eminence trigger says that every time you cast a vampire spell, you make a 1/1 vampire token, which is fucked up because no matter how many times Edgar gets killed or removed or in any other way, he stays there. He stays.
Because with Eminence... It doesn't matter if you put him on the battlefield or not, as long as he's in the command zone or on the battlefield, that ability triggers, no matter what.
It's fucked up. That's why he's banned in 1v1, but Wendy takes great patience in me.
I do. And I still kick his ass a lot.
Yeah, you've won quite a few times.
Yeah.
But there are other commanders that have Eminence, which aren't nearly as good. But, can they hear that? Yeah, they can hear that. I'm scraping off cat hair off the mic, sorry. But in Commander, it's so much more like a role-playing game than it is a Magic game. Because when I'm playing my vampires, I don't feel like Spencer. I feel like Edgar fucking Markov.
That's true.
And I'm commanding...
Commander is also really good for role-playing.
I'm commanding my army of vampires to go fuck shit up. I play... What? I play Knight of the Ebon Legion. If I play Knight of the Ebon Legion, first turn, I'm winning. Immediately. He's a one black creature... Fuck, does he kick ass?
Yeah. What does he do? He gets a 1/1 counter for every time a creature dies?
That's Rakish Air, no.
Oh.
He just deals 2 damage. Plus the vampire token.
He costs 3 mana, right?
He costs 1 mana.
Oh, right.
And if I have him out first turn, if I'm not winning, something's wrong. So I've put about... My commander deck is worth about $300. So if you want to ever steal something from me, I don't think you would get a good price at a pawn shop, but But then, you said you only put 180 in the gear, Ed.
Yeah.
Wendy's still got some cards that I have no answers towards.
That's right.
She can still kick my ass.
You don't have any answer for Sandworm Convergence. I don't think you have enchantment removal.
I do have one.
One out of 100 cards.
Out of 100 cards. Yeah, if Sandward Convergence gets played, it's game over for me. And that's what's so fucking interesting about Commander. Is
Godsire.
Godsire, yeah. Fucking Godsire.
The most Timmy card ever.
Do you remember that card, that image I made?
Yes, that's so funny.
Very funny.
God, I love that.
Godsire kicks my ass. What does Godsire do?
Godsire is a creature that costs 8 mana to cast. 8 mana is a lot. But he is an 8/8. He has 8 power and 8 toughness, meaning he deals 8 damage and can take 8 damage before he dies. And every time he attacks, he makes a copy of himself.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. And if you give that fucker hastes, If you give that fucker haste, you've got 2 Godsires immediately. And one of the cool things about Godsire is that, see, a lot of most Magic cards, I think most of them, have what's called flavor text. And sometimes the flavor text actually goes really well with the card and actually means what it means. Yeah. So, and Godsire has Vigilance, which means that if he attacks, he doesn't tap. If you tap him, you put an 8/8 beast creature, which is essentially a copy of Godsire. You bring another one in. And the flavor text for Godsire is, lay sacrifice to the Godsire that it may spare us, but save some for his progeny, who also will hunger. Sienna, Elvish God Toucher. So, progeny, meaning children. And whenever you tap Godsire, you make another Godsire.
And with that, we will finish part 1 of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
we will get to part 2 in the morning. Thank you for coming in. Xander, Trevor, I'm sorry we called you out like that. We love you. We're crazy about you. You are our very close friends. Mm-hmm. Good night.
Good night, guys.